Okay, I'm trying to start the recording. Okay, looks like we're recording. Hey guys, good morning. Quick question. Do you guys know where Bojangles is from your house? How would you describe how to get to Bojangles from where you live?
From where I live at the Landon, so I would take a right coming out of the Landon, and I would go down the road. I would go past two streets, and I would take the third right, and I would go down that street a little ways, and then I would take a left when I get almost to the end of the road.
Yeah, you're right. Do you know like approximately how far away it is from where you live?
Like maybe a mile,
So
I would
that
say.
So that's called relative location. You're kind of giving me an approximate of how far it is. Do you know like how long it takes you to get there?
Like,
So that's another way that you can use a relative location. Relative location can be time, distance, or directions on how to get to point A from point A to point B. So today we're going to talk about relative location. So I'm going to show you guys a map. Please share photo. All right, let me know if you guys can see it. Can you guys see the map of North Carolina? Are you guys able to see it?
I can't see it.
Okay. Let me see if I can just show you. We're actually going to watch this first. Sorry, there's an ad. I'll just show it to you guys this way because technology is not. Okay.
When telling people your location, there are two ways you can do it. You can give it to them with a relative location or the absolute location. Using the word relative gives you a clue as to how this works. Relative, or related, or a relationship, kind of implies that you're going to be required to have a relationship between two places. Telling someone where I am with a relative position means I'm telling them where I am related to another location. For example, I am across the street from the school. Or my house is north of the school. So the school is south of my house. But you don't have to use directions necessarily. You could use distance too. My house is 1 mile away from the school. Or my house is 1 mile east of the school. Or my house is 1 mile past the school. Or even time. My house is 5 minutes away from the school. You could use cost as well. My house is $1 taxi ride away from the school. And of course, you could combine them in various ways. My house is a 5-minute drive heading north 1 mile from the school. So the main takeaway from the relative location is that it's not a fixed location. Relative location is used regularly in common conversations.
Okay. So that is that video. Does anybody have any questions about that video? So based off that video, what would you say the definition of relative location is?
I would say it is a description of a place's location to another place.
Yeah, definitely. So now I'm going to try and show you guys the map again.
Justin, if you
Yeah.
want to try to share it on your screen, I was able to see it, but I was on mute by accident. So I was trying.
Okay. Let me try it
If you want to
again.
just try again.
Okay. All right.
Sorry to interrupt. I just thought I'd.
No, you're good. I'd rather do that than hold my phone up to the camera.
Rachel, can you see that?
I can't. It's like she goes like frozen, and then I can't see anything. But it's fine. I can just like listen along with y'all.
Okay, well, it's just a map of North Carolina off Google Maps, just
Okay.
like a basic map.
Mhm.
Okay. So we are in Greenville, North Carolina, and that is to the east of Durham and Raleigh. We are about an hour and a half east from Raleigh, North Carolina. I know this because I've driven there before, and I know it's east because of the directions that the compass tells us to go. So when we're using relative location, you can use distance, direction, or time, or a combination of all of those. So I want you to turn and talk to your partner and give the relative location of your house to the school.
To East Carolina or to a different school?
You can do East Carolina.
Okay. My house is across from East Carolina University. I'm right across the street.
Okay. My house is like down the road from East Carolina University, like 10 minutes down the road.
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the relative location of Greensboro to Durham. So on the map, you can see that Durham and Greensboro are both marked. So let's turn and talk to our partner about what the relative location of Greensboro to Durham is.
Greensboro is west of Durham.
Yep.
I agree.
So, yeah, you guys both did a great job with that. So now we're going to get out a piece of paper. And we're going to write down, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're just going to write them down. So let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first question is, what does relative location mean? The second question is, approximately how far away is Charlotte from Greenville, North Carolina? And the last question is, what direction is your house from our school? All right, so now you're going to turn and talk to your partner and discuss your answers to those questions.
Okay. I said that the relative location is like a description of where a place is, so you describe it more instead of giving like an exact location. And then I said, I'm just kind of like guessing. Greenville is about 3 hours from Charlotte. It might be like 4. And I said my house is south of ECU, my school.
I said the same. I gave kind of the same definition. I said relative location is the description of a place relative to another. And then I said Charlotte is about 4 hours away from Greenville because I'm not entirely sure. And then I said my house is east of East Carolina University, if you're looking on a map.
So what is another example of relative location? Like, what is another thing that you can tell me the relative location of?
I could say the beach is east of Greenville. OBX.
Yeah, definitely. So what are the different ways that you can measure relative location?
time,
Distance.
direction.
Yeah.
Not direction, like northeast, south, and west.
Yeah, definitely. So when do you think outside of a classroom that you would ever use relative location, or have you ever used it outside of the classroom before?
Like giving directions to my friends or something.
Yeah,
But give them,
definitely.
most of the time I give them like an address. I just say where it is.
Yeah.
If I'm like telling someone where something is, I'll be like, oh, like if I'm downstairs and my roommate needs my hairbrush, I'll be like, oh, my hairbrush is like on top of my desk or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the relative location of like something in your house. So yeah, those are both great ways that you can use relative location outside of a school setting. So now I'm going to show you guys another map. It will load. All right. Can you guys see this map?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, yeah. Good. All right, so now this is the map of the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad is red through North Carolina, and I marked where Charlotte, Raleigh, Greenville, and Wilmington all are. So what your job is going to do, now that we know all about relative location and we talked about the Underground Railroad last week, you're going to describe to me two the relative location of Greenville to the two routes of the Underground Railroad through North Carolina. You can use distance, you can use direction, you can use time. That is completely up to you, but you'll just write them down on your paper. So Rachel, what was the first thing that you put? What was the first relative?
So the first thing I looked at was the Underground Railroad that went by like Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, I kind of guessed that Greenville would be about an hour and a half away from it, and Greenville would be east. And for the second one that like runs through the mountains, I said it would be about 3 hours away from Greenville, and Greenville was east of that also.
Yeah. Taylor, what about you? What did you put?
I said the same thing. I said, thinking that Raleigh was like an hour and a half away from Greenville, I said the Underground Railroad was approximately 2 hours away from Greenville, or at least one of them was.
Mm-hmm.
The other one would be like approximately like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 hours away from Greenville. And then I said the Underground Railroad ran west of Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Or Greenville, North Carolina as well, or east of it, yeah.
Yeah, so when we're giving a relative location, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exact. So if all of your answers are correct and you guys gave the supporting details to justify your answers, so that's awesome. So we talked about how this would be super useful when giving someone directions to your house or when you're finding something. Can you guys think of another way that this could be useful outside of school?
To give someone like the general idea of the location instead of giving the exact address, because sometimes you don't know the exact address of something.
Yeah, definitely. You could say, oh, my house is directly across from McDonald's or something like that. Well, you guys did really awesome today, and I'm proud of you guys.